Cyberpunk 2077, yet another controversial title, released over 3 years ago. Time flies by very fast it seems. I played this game for the first time just a few months after its release. Despite all of its shortcomings, I had a really good time. Over 50 hours of very interesting storylines and good combat. However, I could see why so many people complained about it back then. But I got what I wanted from it, so I was not disappointed nor angry about the state of the game. Now I have returned to it, in order to play its first and most likely the last expansion named Phantom Liberty. I have chosen the option to start the game with a new character, but not from the very beginning. Instead of that, it gave me somewhat leveled up version of V, and my first quest was the prelude for the Phantom Liberty. I had no idea that the best option was to start a whole new game clean, because many stories intertwine on different levels. Oh well, what's done is done. Let's focus on what's important now. I like the premise of the story, touches my nostalgia for old school action movies and spy thrillers. And it's no wonder, cause the very start of it's heavily inspired by the movie called Escape from New York. Overall, main plot of the expansion got me very invested and interested in how it will all unravel. It kept me on the edge of my seat, which happens rarely in video games. What surprised me again, like in the base game, was that your choices really matter. The story can branch out in two places, giving you several endings. I personally like the one story for all in my games, but nonetheless, I appreciate it for all the meaningful choices supporters out there. It is just fine like it is, so do not think I would like it changed. We need both types of storytelling in order to tell which we like more. What makes it all work as well as it is the fact that actors are doing a great job here. It especially shows in the scenes with Johnny Silverhand and Solomon Reed. These were great casting choices despite of what some people may claim. Great acting in many scenes made me very emotional, rare for me when playing video game again. But Cyberpunk managed to soften up just a little bit, the old hardened man that I am. But let's not melt away with all that said. Instead, we should talk about the gameplay, even if there is not very much new to say here. Firearms combat is still very good, and melee I haven't tested extensively in neither version of the game, so that's bad. The important mention here is that developers added vehicle combat, which makes car chases more interesting. It is nothing that will make you super excited, but it's a welcome addition nonetheless. On the other hand, stealth gameplay is kinda busted and still not working at the optimal level. You would think that they fix it for the spy thrill inspired expansion, but nope, not gonna happen. So imagine my discontent when I found out that one of the most important segments of the game is based on avoiding killer robot. I know some players really enjoy that type of gameplay, but for me it just doesn't work. It not makes my adrenaline pump into my veins for some nice thrills, instead it annoys me much that I cannot deal with the threat in any other way. From other news, character progression changed. I thought previous version was fine, I do not dislike the new version either, so it's all fine in this department. I only had a minor gripe with loot in Phantom Liberty, because most of the unique items I got were pistols and revolvers. I rolled with it and made a pistol/DRM build for myself. Hey, if life gives you lemons, you gotta squeeze them for what they're worth. I guess this episode is going to be really short, considering the fact that we already got into the technical chapter of this review. This time around it may be the most important part to talk about, because the most dissatisfaction with Cyberpunk 2077 when it released back in 2020 came from the technical state of the game indeed. Bugs, glitches, performance on consoles. AI functioning in the unacceptable way and promised but missing 4 game mechanics. Oh boy, it was a shit show, let me tell you. Still, game was looking very good back then, at least on PC. And it still is one of the best looking games to this day, mainly because it was updated in the department many times, and even injected with newest technologies. It is January of 2024 as of writing of this, so don't you dare to put it some funny comments like a decade from now. Anyways, game looks very cinematic in the cutscenes and in free movement conversation mode as well. Felt like watching a good thriller again. I keep repeating it because it's true. The only thing I can complain about are feasible pop-ins in level of details. It's one of the weaknesses of the Red engine. CD Projekt Red wants to solve most engine problems by switching to the Unreal 5. UI and menus are still not to my liking, even after changes. Just key bindings for different things are too much and navigation through them is tiresome. Menus within menus within menus. Reminds me of recently played Starfield. Oh gosh. Sound and music are still top tier, so nothing new here. AI vastly improved over 3 years. It's still not the best one ever, but at least it's not a parody of a system it was in the past. What haven't improved though is that it is hard to say if you should reload less checkpoint or less save when you die. It really annoyed me several times, given the fact there is plenty of segments where you cannot save your progress. What we got left? Ah yes, bugs and glitches. There are still plenty of them, even after several years. I would let some funky physics and things like that slide, if I hadn't had some game-breaking incidents. Once I got trapped inside the location after killing all enemies, needed to reload save, wasted about 20 minutes of time, trying to find my way out. The other time, enemy got stuck in the wall, preventing me from completing objective. Needed to reload the game again and make my progress all over again. There was also an incident when gate with access to NPC didn't open, so I had no chance to play the quest chain because, funnily enough, it was still bugged after reloading game several times. Oh, what a joy. Other than that, game only crashed to Windows one time. So what are my thoughts after finishing the game? It's as much of an experience as it is video game. Stories here are really strong, full of darkness, resignation, or the opposite. Joy and hope can shine through all the clouds sometimes. The base game had a really strong adult theme that made many people think about their lives. Here it is emphasized even more. It is not a title for underage audience for sure. I wish more games had such effect on me as Cyberpunk 2077 and Phantom Liberty included. Good gameplay and gripping story that makes you feel the whole spectrum of human emotions. It is really gold period here, so it cannot be any other way, but I am forced to recommend Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty to every adult gamer. It is really a meaningful experience, but the game will not make it easy on you. You're gonna have to deal with some really dark themes, but it's all worth in the end, trust me. Saying that concludes this episode, I guess. I will see you in the next Great Late Review.